One figure captures an entire transformation. In a well-known English study, 8 out of 10 children aged 7 and 8 walked to school on their own. 2 decades later, barely 1 in 10 did. There was no law, no decree, no prohibition. It simply stopped being possible. Look at an old photograph of any residential street: children in the roadway, adults in doorways, the odd car parked among them. Look at that same street today: 2 rows of parked vehicles, a narrow pavement, and nobody under 16 in sight. The question holding this video together is blunt. Who pushed children out of the street? The mechanism was not a decision but an accumulation. First the car took the roadway, which had been shared space. Then it took the edges too, converted into permanent parking. Speeds rose and crossings became dangerous errands. At that point the risk was transferred to families, who did the only reasonable thing: they removed their children from the dangerous place. Each parent made a sound individual decision. The sum of all those sound decisions produced a city without children. And a street without children becomes less safe still, because the adults who came out to watch them vanish, along with the eyes that ordered the space. Here comes the most misleading statistic in the whole story. Over the same period in which traffic nearly doubled, child road deaths nearly halved. Read quickly, that looks like a triumph of road safety. The researcher Hillman showed the reading was false. Children stopped dying not because the street had become safe. They stopped dying because we took them off it. Casualty statistics measure the exposed, not the excluded. A space where nobody walks produces excellent pedestrian collision figures. Safety, measured that way, can be achieved simply by emptying the city of its most fragile bodies. The consequences are not merely symbolic. Children's autonomy is a form of learning, not a privilege. Crossing your own neighborhood alone builds spatial orientation, risk management, negotiation with strangers, and a personal sense of belonging to a place. A child always driven knows routes, not territory. Everyday physical activity also disappears once travel is motorized. And there is a cost rarely counted: somebody has to accompany them. That accompanying work falls mostly on women, and consumes daily hours that no mobility statistic records as transport. Confining children produces, in turn, an enormous adult burden. It is worth stressing that none of this was inevitable. International comparisons show it plainly. In Germany, with similar or higher car ownership, the share of schoolchildren traveling alone was always far higher. In Nordic countries the figures are higher still, close to universal in some age groups. The difference lies neither in the weather nor in national character. It lies in street design, in permitted speeds, in continuous pavements, and in a different social expectation about what a child may do alone. The evidence shows children's autonomy is a variable of urban policy. The most cited Spanish case confirms it. Pontevedra inverted the mobility pyramid: first people on foot or in wheelchairs, then bicycles, then public transport, and last the car. It pedestrianized the center and then extended the same standard to the surrounding districts, the outer neighborhoods and the rural parishes, with reduced speeds, raised crossings, and continuous pavements. It also organized school routes with the local police, shopkeepers, and neighbors. The result is that more than half of children aged 7 to 12 now walk to school. The educator Tanucci, who inspired the model, puts it exactly: the most pedestrian is the child. Now the counterargument, and it deserves serious treatment. Parental fear is neither purely irrational nor explained by traffic alone. Fear of assault plays a part, along with media coverage of exceptional events and the social pressure on anyone who lets a child walk alone. The city is also not the only cause. Families have fewer children and protect them more. The school is no longer always in the neighborhood because parents choose one, and much of childhood leisure has migrated to screens. Redesigning streets does not automatically return children to them if nothing else changes. It can still be argued that this objection qualifies the responsibility of urban design rather than removing it. Design does not determine behavior, but it sets what is possible. No cultural shift will bring children back to a street where cars pass at 50 kilometers an hour beside a pavement 1 meter wide. Conversely, once a street becomes walkable, family permission appears with remarkable speed. The editorial opinion is this: a city with no children on its streets is not a safe city, it is a city that resolved the conflict by expelling the weakest party. And it did so without ever debating it in public. Return to the opening question. Who pushed children out of the street? Nobody in particular, which is why the process was unstoppable. They were pushed out by a sum of reasonable technical decisions: widen a lane, allow angled parking, prioritize traffic flow, accept a high speed limit in a residential area. Each defensible alone, all of them together devastating. That is why the most honest test you can apply to an urban project is not how many cars it carries or what it costs. The test is this: would you let an 8-year-old walk this street alone to school? If the answer is no, the project has failed, however fully it complies with the rules.